It is an honor to introduce to you all the guest of honor for today, His Grace, Reverend Dr. Elias Gonsalves, Chairman CBCI, Education and Culture, Archbishop of Nagpur. Most Reverend Dr. Elias Gonsalves was born on 4th July 1961 in Chulna village, Vasai Road, Thane, Maharashtra. He studied at St. Pius X Seminary, Mumbai and was ordained priest on 1st April 1990 in Vasai for the Archdiocese of Bombay. He has a BA in History and Economics from Bombay University, and he did his studies in Community-Based Development and Leadership from St. Francis Xavier University, Coady Institute, Canada, and studies in counseling. He was the assistant parish priest at Nandakal, Vasai and Sandor, youth coordinator for South Vasai Deanery, priest in charge at Roha, priest in charge at Panvel, assistant director and then director, Center for Social Action, Mumbai, director, Sarvodaya Center for Capacity Building, Mumbai. He was elected Bishop of Amravati on 11th July 2012 and ordained on 29 September 2012. After having served Amravati Diocese for 6 years, Bishop was designated as the Archbishop on 3rd December 2018. He was installed as the Metropolitan Archbishop of Nagpur on 27th January 2019. Episcopal Ministry, he has been in charge of Catholic education in Western Region Catholic Bishop Council, Maharashtra, Gujarat, and Goa. He was the main instrument in forming Western Region Catholic Foundation for Education as registered company under Companies Act 2013. He is promoter of Education to Family Values online program for Western Region Catholic schools. His Grace, Reverend Dr. Elias Gonsalves, we are truly privileged to have your presence with us. I would request you to kindly come forward and deliver the keynote address.
Very Reverend Brother John, the Superior General, Honorable Minister, Mr. Marvin, Mr. Michael D'Souza, the Director of the Training for Secretaries and Capacity Building for Panchayat Raj, Brother Shine, and respected brothers on the dais, and you, my dear brothers. I'm very glad to be here this evening. I know you all have traveled quite distant and come from Kanyakumari to Kashmir, and the northeast, that side to Gujarat. All are come from different distant places. At the outset, let me congratulate all of you for your service in the field of education. I do not want to bore you by my dry speech, so I have a small presentation there. So instead of looking at me all the time, you can look at the presentation, you can see some colors there. So, the first thing that which I appreciated, the motto and the goal of your congregation, Jesus Christ is our inspiration, our rule of life, our model, our guide, and our goal. And this motto that which you have which very much reminds me the unique characteristics of our Catholic education and the Montfortians, that the children are angels to be admired, adored, and assisted in their growth as children of God. This is at the core of your educational ministry, which I have closely associated with in Amravati Diocese and also in the Archdiocese of Nagpur. But what I truly appreciate is the Montfortians are not just in the city, but they are also in the remote places. And that is what I really congratulate you for being balanced in your approach. There in Amravati you have the remotest place, Melghat, which is one of the backward places in whole Maharashtra. The mortality rate is very high in infants. And there in that remote place at Dharni you have a school. In Nagpur you have in Garatola. This shows that you do not just serve the elites, but also reach out to the poor and marginalized. I wholeheartedly congratulate you for your efforts to reach out to our people and make the impact of education in all the fields. I bow with respect and honor the brothers who are veterans here, and some have gone before us to the Lord. We remember them. May they rest in peace. But their contribution, what they have handed over to us, is great. And that is what we inherit, this rich, dynamic, and great deal, these institutions of learning and higher learning, which you are holding now dear to your heart. I am reminded here of the letter written by Pope Francis on the year of consecrated life, Rejoice. In that, he uses one word. He said the consecrated life is centered around one word, that is joy. The beauty of consecrated life is in joy. And you, Montfortians, are in midst of the little ones, the little angels of God. Surely you have that joy deep down in your heart. My dear brothers, in calling you, God says to you, you are important to me. I love you. I am counting on you. This is what Pope Francis also said in this letter in the year of consecrated life, which I am repeating today for you. The Pope is inviting all of you to go to the root of your charism, root of your vocation. Why I am inviting you to do this? Because in long run, at times we forget the charism or the founding fathers, the intentions that they had in founding congregations. And we need to go back to our roots in order to draw the strength for the present day situations, the changing situations. Today our theme is changing course, transforming education. I'm very much delighted to know this theme that which we have. Just few days back, UN Secretary General Antonio issued a framework for education action that has 3 global priorities. Number 1, put every child into school, improve quality learning, foster global citizenship. I don't want to develop this and focus only on this, my talk, which you are very much aware. But as a coincidence, Pope Francis has the monthly intention this month. Children who suffer. We pray for children who are suffering, especially those who are homeless, orphans, and victims of war. May they be guaranteed access of education and the opportunity to experience family affection. I think we have a strong message from both these leaders, world leaders, stating and inviting us to focus our attention on the co-charism the Montfortians have. We all know and we are very much familiar with put every child into school. Just yesterday or day before, last 2 days, there is a caption coming and there is a discussion on TV channels that 82% of Indians are literate. And one of the great educationists abroad said, for India, 82% is very less. And he is challenging the Indian governments that why only 82%? My dear friends, as Brother Shine earlier told us, the number of percentage during pandemic how have gone down. The girl child education has gone down. And this has truly affected the whole educational world. There is a big number of dropouts in our schools. And this is surely going to affect the whole society in long run. We need to make sure, put every child into school. The second important thing that improve quality learning, that we need to see how we can make difference with our education. This, which I will focus later from the Catholic education perspective. I want to dwell more on this from Catholic education. I know you have great speakers lined up, but I would like to focus this. You may call me as the church man, but let me have a privilege to dwell on this little later, what the church is thinking in this line. We need to also focus on a good maintained infrastructure. We have infrastructure, but do we truly maintain them and make friendly for our children? Quality of teaching and teacher will only make us child-centric education. If we focus our attention only on infrastructure and external things, we will miss the point. And therefore, the new education policy also will focus our attention to child-centric education. And this, all of us need to make sure during these days how we can make impact and influence in our institution child-centric education. Third, foster global challenges and global citizenship, which all of us are aware. Now the whole globe is a small village. because of the communication that we have. It's no longer we are in high speed range, but we have traveled now to supersonic speed. And the speed, the way the whole society, the whole world is making difference today is a challenge before us. My dear friends, these three important aspects which our United Nations Secretary General has brought to our notice. But what, from my perspective and from the perspective of the church, what I would like to focus your attention also on the 4H education model. Mahatma Gandhi and Pope Francis has been insisting 3H, but I am also adding the 4th H, that is health. The holistic development of a child can be achieved only through the language of mind and head, language of heart, language of hands, and language of health. The overall holistic development of a child is necessary today, especially after post-pandemic. We conducted a survey just lately and we found very many children are affected with psychological problems after the pandemic, due to too much of media, too much of mobile, due to too much lockdown at home, and so many other factors have influenced the children. In this background, now what I would like to focus your attention on this 4th and 5th point, that is Catholic education. Pope Francis has beautifully put it. He calls for a new era of education and educational commitment involving all members of society. Today we want to state that our religious traditions, which have always played a leading role in schooling, from teaching literacy to higher education, reaffirm their mission of integrally educating each individual head, hands, heart, and soul, to think about what we are feeling and doing, to feel what we are thinking and doing, to do what we are feeling and thinking. The beauty and harmony of what it is to be fully human. My dear friends, schools are privileged environments, not only for instruction, but also for encounter and integration. Our Catholic institutions of schools and higher learning are called to educate their own students who will be tomorrow's administrators, entrepreneurs, and cultural leaders, to a clearer understanding of the phenomenon of migration within a perspective of justice, global responsibility, and communion in diversity. This, all of us need to keep in mind. We have very few Michael D'Souza's left now in the government circle. Handful. Somewhere something has gone wrong. We need to check. Why we are absent, the Catholic community, in the administration of the government? And it is a serious thought that which we need to give in. Why? I am just posing a question before you. The whole humanity to sign a compact on education by committing themselves personally to take up the following 7 commitments. Pope Francis just recently gave those talk to the international body of education. These 7 commitments, we all know them. Very much we are doing it. But I want to once again pay your attention to. To make human person the center. This is one of the principles of Catholic social teaching. Human person. Life and dignity of every human person. Second, to listen to the voice of children and young people. Third, to advance the women. Now, we have a male-dominated group here. There are no women among us. Only few people are here. But we need to make sure how the women perspective also should be brought in our approach to education. The third, to advance the women. The fourth, to empower the family. More and more, we need to make sure how family can be part of the whole education system. The parents and the siblings need to make sure they are the part of learning in the accompaniment of the children in the whole process of schooling. The fifth one, to welcome, to educate and to be educated on the need for acceptance and in particular openness to the most vulnerable and marginalized. The sixth one, to find new ways of understanding economy and politics. The seventh, to safeguard our common home, which we have been talking time and again here, and the resource persons will surely focus their attention. My dear friends, the Vatican II also invites us to reflect on this fact. We must break that idea of education which holds that educating means filling one's head with ideas. We are too much head-oriented education. Therefore, what I was talking earlier, that 4H model could be tried to integrate in our whole system. My dear brothers, today I would like to urge you to keep watch. To keep watch, to continue the praiseworthy efforts that you are making. I know some of you go through really difficult times, especially who are working in the remote places. There are no all facilities, all kinds of things available. But that is the praiseworthy efforts you are making. And some of you also involved in the social development work. How we can put this together, complement this work together, not compartmentalize, but social justice and development work and education can be work done together in your centers in rural areas. And which is sure, I have seen that very well done in our Dharani by Brother Jose and also in Garatola, which we need to focus more in other parts, especially in North India. And I have been talking with Brother when he visited me first time in that, and I appreciated this, that this is a praiseworthy efforts. You are behind the scene, you are doing all this. You are not in the forefront. You are not awarded with the best teachers award maybe. But you have a reward for this, is the satisfaction that which you are working for the underprivileged. I would like to ask you to return to the intentionality proper to the educational institutions which you have inherited from your founding fathers. In the convergent commitment of teaching, research, dialogue, and confrontation with society. We cannot remain out of the society and do our bit in our well-fenced well structured schools, but rather to open up. In these challenging times, which Brother John mentioned, Brother Shine mentioned, we have challenges. I'm not going to mention all of them, but we have to clarify our goals, redefine our objectives and strategies, and rededicate ourselves with our vision undimmed. Sometimes we get carried away with things which attract us, but go back to your roots and see how we can find our bearings, strong bearings on our Catholic education. With resoluteness and sureness of purpose, and with the collaborative efforts of all stakeholders, and above all, with abiding faith in God, Montfort Group of Schools in India will continue to march on to the next decades that and beyond, that which we need to make sure how we can see the future that which is coming. Again, we have this chart, what UN offers to us and what the church is focusing. Both are interlinked. They are not separate. The Pope is often insisting on this 7 proposal of global compact, thinking how we can make our education in this line more effective and more influencing the world today. In the exhortations written by Pope Francis, the 2 of them which I would like to bring to your attention, that first is Christus vivit, that is Christ is alive for the young people, and Amoris Laetitia, joy of love. Both these exhortation have 7 chapter focused on education. Both these exhortations. And Pope Francis is focusing his attention in the life of family, how our education needs to be made effective. He says in Christus Vivid, yet schools are in urgent need of self-criticism. How we can do self-criticism. Not to be negative, but self-criticism is required. Are we on the right track? Where are we? And where we would like to be? Fear of change makes them entrenched and defensive before the dangers, real of or imagined, that any change might bring. A school that becomes a bunker, protecting its students from errors from without, is a caricature of this tendency. The Pope is warning us, have we taken our students in the bunker? We have become too overprotective because of so many things happening in the world today. The POCSO Act, the ICC internal complaint, Vishaka guidelines, and there are so many rules and regulations. The Supreme Court is issuing so many guidelines and so many new rules and regulations, which is making our life really, we are getting suffocated. But how we can break through these bunkers that which we have built ourselves and for our students, how we can get out of it. In Christus Vivit, Pope Francis again is telling us, Catholic schools remain essential places of and for good news of the young. That good news to all, that is evangelization. What is that good news? To give values to our children across the religions, the value system that which we hold dear. And these values need to be focused in our education system. In Amoris Laetitia, Pope Francis tells the family is the first school of human values, where we learn the wise use of freedom. Certain inclination develop in childhood and become so deeply rooted that they remain throughout life, either as attraction to a particular value or a natural repugnance to certain ways of acting. This again, we need to make sure how we can get involved the family, the parents in the whole education system. My dear friends, and finally, I want to wake you up if you are sleeping. I know it was long, reading some quotations we get bored, but now the time. The post-pandemic, the challenges before us. A few days back, I was there for a higher education. Father Joe was present there, and I put the challenge before higher education people. Because the president said, now we are in the age of values that which are degrading, and we need to see that Catholic education needs to bring back the values in our higher education. But my dear friends, it will be rather too late and too little when they are in higher education. When they are in state of childhood or as a school student, we can do better. But now, all our education systems is suffocating us. There is no time for value education. In Bombay, I had a discussion with few principals and the secretaries across the board. They said, Bishop, don't break your head. We have no time for catechism and value education. Don't break your head. Nobody will do. And yes, I'm shocked. We, Francis Joseph is there. We sat down for days together to reflect in my first 2 years as a bishop of Amravati. And as soon as I became bishop, I was given this job by Cardinal himself, because he was supposed to be in charge of education, Cardinal Gracious. He said, I have no time, you take it up. I was never a principal, or I only had supplementary classes for 200 villages in Raigad district. Supplementary classes for those tribals. That experience, 10 years, I carried it on with real zeal and dedication. In 200 villages, we were making day in and out to reach our teacher in that remote mountain or remote place to go and teach simple supplementary education. The government officers were appreciating. Once one video and that SCDS, what is that, the food they provide, ICDS, both officers came to me and said, what are you paying for your teachers? Because when we go on the mountain to see our teacher, she is not there, but your teacher is there. I said, we pay 800 to 1000 rupees for 3 hours. So they put their hand, we are paying thousands, but they are not reaching. I said, they are motivated. Your teachers come for salary, our teachers come for motivation. And my dear friends, what I want to pose a big question today. Can we have our own board? We have 20,000 Catholic schools in India. And we would like to be subservient to somebody else. ICICI, maybe CBSC and the state boards, we are gulams. Like they are ordering us and we are dancing, they are beating the drum and we are dancing on their tune. But why can't we have board, our own board, Catholic Education Board? The general and the provincials here, can you hold the umbrella? Nobody is ready to bell the cat. But you, dedicated crowd here, I want to pose a big question to you. Can we think of this? for our future generation. We have been carrying out education for the last hundreds of years. We are proud about it. We boast about it. But in what situation? In what circumstances? In this suffocated situation, are we free and truly allowing the Spirit to work through us? Or we are lighting the lamp and putting under the dash. I am posing this challenge before you. Before it is too late, why don't we think about Catholic Education Board? Pope Francis has given us a challenge before. How do we make our Catholic education effective? We have been proud about it, but are we making difference in the education system? That is the question. The first challenge that which I would like to pose to you. The second challenge that we have is to change the course. What is your topic today? Change the course, transforming education. Who will begin? Who will bail the cat? If you want to change the course, it has to create a force. You see the river flowing? When it starts overflowing, it creates its own course. It doesn't stop, wait, I'll go through my route only. No, when it starts flowing with force, it creates its own ways and moves ahead. Whatever comes in the way, it carries away. So my friends, today we need to see how we can get into dialogue with teachers, parents, students, in all the fields, and make our value education more effective through all the subjects. CBSE is inviting you to teach value education through all the subjects. But will it be possible and will it be focused? The third challenge, new education policy. It's going to open the doors and windows. It's going to bring new breeze, new air. Are we going to be blown up by it? Or are we going to stand firm and face the new education policy as it comes and when it comes? The fourth, unlearn, then relearn. Now is the challenge for us. To implement the new education policy, we need to unlearn. Here I see 4-5 veteran brothers. They may be thinking what's really happening in the field of education, which they were pioneers for many years. But what is happening now? We need to unlearn in order to relearn, because there are things changing faster than what we think. The fifth challenge before you is technology and digital revolution today. Artificial intelligence, the way the speed is moving, I said earlier, it is a supersonic speed now. It's not just high speed. Your internet is not just going to high speed, but supersonic speed. The things are changing. The sixth challenge, innovation and creativity, or go out of business. That's the challenge before us. Perform or perish. No longer we are going to be monopoly in education, which was there. The grand old days. No longer going to be the same, because the corporates are getting into it, the NRIs are getting into it, and they are throwing hundreds of challenges before us. So are we prepared for this? Then the seventh, these are uncertain times. Leadership matters. We will normally show the finger to provincial, then to general, then to bishop, and then to Archbishop, and then to Pope, and this showing finger goes on and on. But the leadership at the grassroots, there in the small little village, matters. You can begin the change what you want. I will just tell a small incident which the police commissioner Ribeiro shared with us when he was talking to us as a priest. He told, I never waited for anybody to give me orders. What I had the power, wherever I was, I changed. I changed the situation. I didn't wait somebody else to tell me. He said, when I wanted to demolish anything, illegal structure, I knew the ministers are going to phone me. So I used to, those days mobile was not there. He used to keep van 2 kilometers away, middle of the night, and walk to the place where he wanted to demolish, especially these illegal goons running the night clubs. He walked there, demolished everything, and he had instructed, he said to the policeman with the wireless phone, if anybody phone calls you, tell them, sir is away 5 kilometers away. He used to finish the job, come back and phone the minister and tell, the minister is sitting here, sir, what happened? They used to scream, why you went and did this? Sir, I finished the job. I didn't know that you wanted to stop it. I finished my job. And what he would do it legally, with the court orders and all. He said, what difference I want to make, I did it. The leadership matters. And this is what I believe I also try to do in little way, not that big way, but leadership matters. We need to bring changing of course beginning from each one of us. Not from the bishop, not from the church there in Rome. Rome तो बहुत दूर है. हम तो गली में काम करने वाले हैं. तो begin a change of course here and now on the spot. Then only truly we can bring that transformation in our education ministry. I'm calling it ministry. I'm not calling it work. It is an education ministry. And it is your vocation, my dear brothers, which you have committed totally and dedicated your lives for this ministry. And sure, when you stand for truth, the truth will stand by you. And this challenge, with this spirit of truth, we need to work today in the present day challenges. Changing course and transforming education is in your hand. Thank you. God bless you.